Welcome into the Crypto Bunker podcast. Today I want to be going over what type of bull run we might be looking at here. We're going to look at a few different things. Right now, you're probably wondering, what is this chart that I'm looking at? This is actually the Ethereum chart from 2016, 2017, right before the massive bull run. And the reason that I'm showing you this is not to necessarily say that this is a guarantee that, that anything like that. This is not, investment advice, but what I'm saying is that a lot of times in crypto, these charts play out the same way for different coins. And we can especially expect that for Ethereum and then layer twos. Okay. So I'm basically comparing this chart to this chart here. And this is the Optimism chart that we're looking at. Now, Optimism has just had a huge sell-off here, but it is sell-off that I think is coming into some good support here. So we're going to go through that. And, I'm going to just kind of give a thesis of potentially why this chart is almost exactly the same as the ETH chart from the early days. And I think that basically where we are right now is right before the big run. So we're in this sort of time frame here. As you can see here. Okay, so right now we're sort of forming a bullish formation. We're coming into these averages. Okay, so we have these moving averages here. And what we saw was a major capitulation event here on Optimism. Now, what we saw on Ethereum is sort of similar. We had a major capitulation that came down to this level, and basically the moving averages, which we like to look at the SMAs, the moving averages capitulated, and we had all in order, again, a wide distribution. So we had the 200 on top, we had the 150, the 100, the 20-day moving average. Okay. So what we did was we flipped it. We made the 20 support. We came all the way up to the 200. We tested it, came back down, and sort of just had this accumulation, but it was an upward accumulation. So it was kind of a little bit of a flag. Okay. What you could say was a bull flag. And then when we broke that, we just went nuts. Now, basically what we have here is it's not the same. But what we can identify is that we had a capitulation event. We then had the moving averages in order and on top. We came above it, and we've kind of tested each one. Okay. Now, we didn't get all the way to the 200-day moving average here, like we did with Ethereum, but everything has a different structure. It can't be exactly the same. But I think that actually this is very similar. So down and then like that, and then so we came down, same exact formation here, right? This is exactly the same. Then we came up. Okay, so we went from 117 to 184. Here we went from $6 to $11. So a similar move. It wasn't necessarily exactly 100% move. With Optimism, it was deeply oversold here. So we can sort of count it almost as like down here, I would say. So what we're looking at right now is, two of the bigger days in a row of a sell-off. Now, you could say that this is probably like sell the news event, because there was it's called On-Chain Summer from Coinbase, and that just launched. Coinbase is building on the OP stack. That doesn't necessarily mean that those users of optimism are able to be on base through Optimism. They have to bridge their assets. So it is a different chain. It's a different user base, but it is a part of the Optimism community. And the more success that base has overall, the more success that Optimism will have, because they actually are contributing to the Optimism DAO and the Optimism collective. But these cycles in crypto tend to play out the same. Now, this is a volatile move. Okay, so anyone that's, trying to stomach this, I totally get it. It doesn't feel good. I'm in the same boat. But, you have to sort of have a little bit of faith that we are coming into some moving averages. Now, if we take a trend line here, we basically came right into it there. Okay, so we are on the trend line. If we look at the 4-hourly, we basically stopped out almost right at the 200. And I'm hoping that when I switch this to 4-hour, well, I'm not sure I can actually do that, but basically what we have, if we just look at the daily moving averages here, let's do that again. 200's above us. We have these 120 moving up. Now we lost the 20-day moving average, but that's okay. And in ETH, we came down and tested pretty hard here. We also did here. So I think, we also did here. We kind of just continuously tested pretty hard the 20 and even the 100 day moving average. And we saw that these moving averages just kind of continued to go up, and it happened pretty quickly. And right now we have the 20-day moving up nice and in our favor here. Now we do still have the 200 over our head, so that is holding us back here technically. But we sort of just had a big shakeout. It doesn't look great, technically it doesn't look too good, but essentially this whole move here came from down in this region where we are now. So, and the daily close, obviously that actually doesn't look great, and can we print another one down to 145? Yeah, we definitely could. And can we get support down there? Yeah, I think we can, just like we did back here with ETH in this scenario. So essentially I just wanted to say that. I mean, they look exactly the same, and do with it as what you will. I just think that OP Optimism is just printing users. Okay, and I think that this sell-off is actually potentially from a major unlock. So if we look at like the market cap fully diluted, I really think, recently I thought I saw it around 12 billion or so, and now it's at 6. So I wonder if there was just a major unlock that is now being absorbed by the market, and that's really why we're seeing this sell-off. And I think that makes sense. I think that it makes sense. I think that their revenue is up, their users are way up, everything is up and to the right. Their total value locked is way up. Okay, it's almost at $1 billion here. If we look at, you can look at users as well, and you can just see that, the users are just up and to the right. It just continues to go up to the right. It's an exponential move, really. It doesn't stop. You can look at revenue. Revenue has continued to go up. Fees have continued to go up. And so, across the board, everything is looking good. And, I'm excited to see where we can go next with Optimism. I think layer 2s are a major potential play if we do have a bull run on our hands. We have the ETFs coming potentially. for Ethereum with the futures. And, this daily close, in my opinion, was bullish. And, the other day I said there was a potential to fall off, and we really did. And that got picked up. Major, major pickup there, right? So we had another one of these types of candles, right? That we've had in these two scenarios right on the same trend line. So it's interesting to me. To me, it just seems that this market continues to be picked up, and I'm wondering, I am wondering if we're about to break, because, a lot of people think we're going to break down. I don't know. Are there shorts who are stuck in their position out there who potentially could get shaken out to the upside? Now, a lot of people aren't really expecting necessarily a major move to the upside. Okay. A lot of people are sort of saying, oh, it's rolling over, and I'm sort of one of those people, right? So, I get it. I understand. I mean, but look at the weekly candle. So we had that, and it's interesting to me that we just kind of had this steady sell-off and just like lull everyone to sleep. The people who got in at the top are now like, okay, let me get out. And, they finally have to get out, right? It's like it's a painful experience. I've been through it. People will capitulate because they're bored and they don't want to deal with it anymore. They're just like, I need this thing to go up. I have credit card bills to pay. I lost my job. I just am sick of looking at this chart. I'm going to go put this into another investment. Let me go invest in the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is down. Let me go put this into NVIDIA, something that's actually performing, something that's in a clear bull market, which I don't even think we really have yet technically a clear bull market, because we have the weekly. We have the weekly MACD, heading down basically, and you can see that when it's going up, we're sort of in a bull, and then it crosses and it crosses again, and now we're sort of down. But what you can also look at on the MACD is the pressure of selling, right? So what we have here, this was a telltale sign that this was the bottom, and we should have all seen it, right? I mean, it's just so hard. I remember I was buying ETH, not like really right around this area, and I just saw this coming. I was just like, oh shit. And I sold out. It got cut in half. And somehow I didn't buy down here. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I just don't know. I got scared. I thought it was this is the end. We're going to 400. I don't know. I mean, but that was the final capitulation. And now we're just steadily kind of accumulating this wedge. Higher lows, right? Higher highs a little bit, marginally. Now that's a marginal higher high, which isn't great. But what you can see is what I was going to say is the reason you could tell is because it's lower, or it's less pressure. So this is sell pressure down here, and then we have less sell pressure here. And then look at this. We did have some sell pressure come in, but it's even less than this, right? So we really are, and now we're above, right? We're above replacement here. And so, maybe we can get a little bit of a turn here, and then all of a sudden, maybe we look at 3,500. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's possible. I want to look at a few other charts. We can look at Bitcoin. Let's look at this on the daily real quick. See if we are getting a bullish cross again here. Let's see if we can identify anything. I guess on the 4-hourly, actually, I wanted to look at. So if we look at the 4-hourly MACD, first of all, looks good here. This looks great to me. I'll be honest with you. I know that there's some sell pressure up here, but the structure is nice. We didn't close back down here in the 1830s. We didn't close in the 1820s. We didn't really lose too much ground on this sell-off, and now we have, in the 4 hourly, we have the 20 moving up and crossing bullish, and that's our support. So this 20 is our support now. And, we're dangerously close to sort of exploding. I mean, to be honest, it's kind of, I don't know if that's a call, that I'm going to make, but I don't think it is, but what I'm seeing here is, first of all, we see, look at this red here. Now, what I tell you before is that when you see a lower low in the chart, so we look at this low and then this low, we have a lower low and the MACD is less selling pressure than here. So biggest selling pressure, and it just keeps getting less and less selling pressure, right? While we're going up on the 4 hourly. And then we get an explosion of green here. Now we get this explosion of green after, and again, what you can look at as well is the buying pressure is much greater than this buying pressure. And it's even greater than this buying pressure as far as I'm concerned. Now it might be the same, but it's close. But like, again, what did we see here? We saw stronger selling pressure here and weaker green here than this green, right? And that's when we saw this sell-off. This has kind of just been an accumulating sell-off that has now potentially reversed. Now let's look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin, similar structure, 24 hours our support. But look at the red just continuously weaker, green stronger. Okay, way stronger than this, stronger than a lot of things, right? Stronger than, it's strong. It's very strong. It looks good. Let's look at it on the weekly. Okay, it's a little bit different. We did have some weekly come in here. This is less. Okay, now weaker green here. That's why it sold off. Now weaker red. Do we get a push? Now we made the 20-week SMA our support, which is really important. The 20-week is very important. And on Ethereum, unfortunately, we're right below the 20-week, which I don't like. I want to go above and make the 20-week support. That should be the next move if we were going to have some type of bullish structure here. But the more I look at the charts, I mean, I get bullish because I believe in crypto. And that's just kind of, that's the fact of it. And even if on Optimism, if we look at the MACD on the weekly, we do see a potential cross coming. Okay, a potential cross coming for Optimism on the weekly. Even if we look at the daily selling pressure, I mean, what we can say is that, yes, none of, that doesn't look great because we had a weaker green, and then now we have a stronger red than here. Okay. Last time, that we got that, it's an interesting sort of scenario to look at. So what I actually might do is potentially, if I can here, to look back at the MACD from 2016 on Ethereum, like we were looking at before. Can we even look at that? But on the daily, and to see kind of, maybe where some similarities could be. Now, I would say that this is very similar, actually. Let's look here. So what I'm looking at on the MACD here for back here in Ethereum's history is we had the green come up and pop, and we had a much weaker green here and another weaker green here and a stronger red here. But we made it through. And even with the red, we just kind of went sideways. And this is the same scenario because we're below the 200 week, below the 200, day, 200 day moving average. And then if we look now at Optimism on the daily time frame, excuse my French here. We're under the 200. We look at MACD, and it hasn't really even started too much yet. I mean, this is early innings of a potential move that we could see. Now, this is non-logarithmic, so you can see it didn't actually even reach down there. Let's look at Solana. Solana looks great to me, if I'm being honest with you. Solana has a really interesting formation. It's kind of this like double bottom pattern. Actually, interestingly enough, Solana looks similar, very similar to Ethereum back in the 2017 correction, I think it was. Let's look at it here. Yeah, so it sort of looks similar to if we say like that we're in this area. Because if we look at Solana, you know what? Let me put the log on because that's the issue here. I apologize. Yeah, let me put the log back on because yeah, this one's in log. Okay, good. So again, we had a major capitulation, bam, and sort of a double bottom. You could call this a double bottom. On ETH, we didn't, I mean, we had this, and then we could say that's the double bottom. And if we're looking at the daily moving averages, we sort of just went, and you could say we're like right here now because we're above almost everything, really. If you think about it, if we look at the moving averages, we're above all of them. We're crossing bullish. We're above all of the moving averages. We have a red coming in on the daily, but not really that much of a sell-off. We tested the 200-day. So Solana is really ahead of the game here. It's ahead of a lot of coins here in terms of what it's looking at. And let's look at this. This is crazy. Solana versus ETH. Look at this. Solana versus ETH. Solana put in a total double bottom. Look at this. Bam, bam. That was buying pressure there. And it looks to me, I mean, on the weekly, we are in a bull market on Sol versus Ethereum, which is crazy because not a lot of coins can say that. A lot of coins get killed against Ethereum. So it's very interesting that the Sol chart is kind of dominating here in a lot of ways, and it's sort of just kind of written off because of the everyone's saying it's a security, Bitstamp delisting it, a lot of bad news coming in for Solana. And yet we print a daily candle that closed above the 20-day moving average. On the weekly, we are in a bull market in the MACD. Well, we're not above, at least here yet. So I guess, we can still hold on that, but we're above the 20-week. And this might not be the full. Oh, this is, sorry, I apologize. This is the so if we look on the weekly here, for Solana, just Solana here, USDT, we are catching support here, and I just don't be surprised because I just think that this thing just, to me, it just looks kind of ready to print. This is a lot of accumulation, a nice capitulation on the FTX, so we shook everyone out, a nice double shakeout, double bottom, a nice flag printing here. And what I could see potentially is this flag sort of printing up to the 150 week, maybe even a 60 handle. Well, I know a lot of this sounds, uber bullish and all that, but and I think at this point in the cycle, I do want to say like anything can happen. I don't want to sound too bullish because I am, sometimes I'm like, am I bearish on the economy or am I bullish? Let's look actually for that purpose at gold real quick, because why we want to look at gold is if gold sells off hard, which it's doing now, we could potentially be seeing a triple top, which I know is a rarity, right? It's not supposed to happen. And I'm not even saying this could literally be the bottom. It should be. I'm invested in gold for sure, and gold miners, and maybe I shouldn't be. But right now, and that's in my retirement. I mean, I'm not, I have some physical silver, but that's besides the point. What we can see is a similar pattern here, unfortunately. And this would be, I think, a good thing for tech and crypto if gold sold off, because I mean, what happened in 2012? We had a sort of a similar situation where we had one last attempt. Everyone thought, okay, we're gonna go to 2,500, like everyone always says. And then, we're in a bull market and then we just get massacred. We're not in that same situation here, but we did lose the 20-week. We're not crossing down or anything. We're actually crossing up. So I do still think we're in a bull market. I think this is a separate bull market from, I think the bull market started here. And I think that it will print, I think it's going to print like 2,300 or something like that. Some people say 29. But for that to happen, we would need rates down, stocks down, inflation sticky, bad economic data. We don't necessarily need inflation to be sticky, but we would need some bad things to happen to the stock market. And if we look at equities, we can look at the NASDAQ. It really did sell off hard today. And that's kind of why I'm also bullish crypto here, because crypto never participated in this rally. And crypto is usually the last game that could be played potentially. And, people are rotating out of tech. And so where do they go if tech is sort of like overspent? And look how far above the 20-week we are, and the weekly is about to cross bearish. If we look at it on the daily, we already crossed bearish, and we had, again, weaker green, which is an obvious sign of a top, weaker RSI. And I think it's possible to print the 150 day, which would be probably around 350 by the time it hit that. But maybe not, maybe this is the 100-day test. We've had that in the past in bull markets. But a lot of times you can see we hit the 150, 150, 150, 150. But we've also had bull markets where we've just printed the 100 or the 100 or the 100. So it can go either way. And I would say it's a good time to start accumulating the NASDAQ, I guess. If you're not fully involved at the moment, but back to optimism to finish things off, because actually let me do another comparison here, which will sort of blow your mind, but what the heck, we can do it. So this is kind of what I am looking at, and I just think that a lot of these coins do play out to be the same thing. As much as people don't want that to be the case, they do, they do print that way. So, I'm not sure how this got that way, but let's see if we can get it right. So essentially what I'm looking at here, as you can see, is sort of a similar pattern here. It's just like how these coins start to be accumulated. Now, you know, I think I need to kind of shorten it and, like, you know, obviously kind of be a little bit more realistic like that. So that's kind of what I'm looking at with the chain link chart compared to the optimism chart. You know, it's sort of these like double tops, capitulation, accumulation upwards. You know, if we look at the accumulation that happened here, right in these ranges, right? It wasn't exactly, it was like sort of already in a bull market at the point of capitulation. You know, could we be actually here where we capitulate down and then the 200 days above us? You know, a lot of these things happen in a shorter time frame than what we're dealing with, but I think we're most similar to this area around here. Because, you know, it's upward accumulation. If we look at optimism, let's look at this guy here. We're sort of at that same point, upward accumulation. You know, nice buying coming in here as we're recording. You know, I wouldn't be too worried about the position necessarily right now. And to me, it looks clear. Well, I'm not going to say it looks clear, but we do have support underneath us here, so we should be, you know, thankful for that. And Ethereum, to me, again, it just looks ready to potentially go. If you look at it in a, you know, a few different trend lines, it's a little bit choppy and messy, so it's hard to say totally, but you know, we do have the 200 day, which is below us, and we tested that. So let's take the drawings away. And, you know, we had a good close up here. The close was above the 150 day as well. Okay, so 150 is very important. If we look at Bitcoin, we actually use the 150 as support, and the 200 is pretty far below us, which I don't love. But for Ethereum, it's pretty close, and we actually did use that as the test, which just shows that Bitcoin has been outperforming Ethereum, but that's okay. If we generally look at the ETH Bitcoin chart, you know, maybe this was actually a capitulation and now accumulation upward. Funny enough, actually similar to potentially down here, right? Or we were talking about before. Let's take everything away. This is Ethereum from the crash that we were talking. Oh, well, yeah, let's go to this actually, because a lot of these play out the exact same. So, okay, so this is Ethereum after the crash. Bam, couple things. What do we have here? Bam, you know, higher lows. Okay, we look at it back. Let's see if we got that here. Yep, higher lows. Okay, it's same thing, just like this. If we look at the moving averages, we can see that we capitulated. We had a full massive stack there. What do we have here? A massive stack here. And now we crossed. Okay, we made the first cross just like we did here. And what did we test? Nothing. What did we test? Nothing. And then what happened? We tested nothing. We came up. Bam, explode through. bam, all the way to the 200 quick. Bam, 200 quick. So I think if there's that type of move, that could be bullish. Let's see what we're looking at for the Bitcoin dominance factor. Bitcoin dominance, we did have a bearish cross. We had a little bit of a rally, test the 100, maybe a rejection down to the 150, back to 49% coming, maybe. Okay, maybe. This isn't a bull market though. There's no doubt. Bitcoin dominance has been doing really well. Let's look at it on the weekly time frame here. Oh, yeah, see, we got rejected by the 200-week moving average. Now, I wonder if we can come back and sort of test this 43 range, potentially. Let's see if we can get a trend line going that kind of helps our case here. And I think it does. You know, I think this 200-week acts as a very, very good determinant that I think is just in a perpetual bear market. Bitcoin dominance is just sort of in a perpetual bear market. If you think about it, it's an ugly chart. It almost looks like it's upside down. You know, it's lower highs once again, 200 week facing downwards. Okay. 200 week down. Not good. Obviously the 20 week is acting as support, but we're wedging. Could we come back, like I said, and test this sort of breakout area down at the 150 week around 44%? Is that possible? Now let's take a look at total market cap, total 3. So this is everything except Bitcoin and Ethereum. Are we about to break out on this wedge? You be the judge. To me, it does look like we were about to break out. We have a capitulation, accumulation, higher lows. Now, is that the 20 week that wants to sneak in there? We are below the 20 week, so I don't love that. But again, we just look at it here and to me that we are above it. Are we testing back? Are we going to explode up? I don't know. What could cause an altcoin run? Well, maybe an Ethereum futures ETF is passed. I don't know. Maybe Coinbase, who has their on-chain summer happening, has a major partnership deal with a company like Coca-Cola or someone else, or USDC or something that we're not thinking of, that maybe Coinbase has up its sleeve. And that's kind of why I'm also bullish. Optimism, like I said, is because, and also if we look at Optimism on the weekly, we can see that we have, pretty good support there as well. Now we went a little bit below it, but, that's okay. If we look at it up close, we're below it now, but the week isn't over. And I do think there's more to come. And so, imagine we close up at 169, can we then climb from there? And was this sort of a shakeout, the shakeout we needed, the real shakeout we needed? And I really wouldn't doubt that. I mean, I think we went down to 150, and I mean, we were at 150, back when Coinbase announced that they were doing the on-chain summer. So the fact that there's been so much growth, on the chain, and a bunch of users, this was the World Coin coming online. If we look at daily active users, and now we have, potentially a massive dump of tokens that came through. You can look at that as well on here. It's the vesting schedule. So this is sort of like when coins are coming online, and you can see, well, yeah, you can see, let's see how many coins. I wonder if you can even look day by day. It's kind of hard to do that. But if you look at, August 8th, and then no, I can't really get it. But you can play around with it on Token Terminal if you want, but you can see that these are the unlocks will continue. So just be prepared that you will be dumped on by core contributors, by investors. You'll be dumped on by the whole thing, really. But the whole point is that you're basically investing in the user growth, and that's really the main thing. The revenue growth. Okay, there is revenue on this chain. This is not a joke. I mean, if you look at the market cap, fully diluted 6.8 billion, and revenue 13 million, revenue 30 days 1 million. Revenue is massively up. Again, users are up. Price to sales ratio is pretty good for a blockchain. Let's look at Solana as a comparison. Solana has less users, okay? Less users than Optimism. Revenue is lower. Market cap's way bigger. Price to sales ratio, totally different. They have a different system, but I will say that Optimism to me has more sort of bullishness behind it. Now the charts may say one thing because the 200 days above our heads here, but I think the 200-day has a lot to do with when we capitulated down here about a year ago. And what I really like to see is that even though we had this capitulation, we still have had higher lows. Okay, so Optimism was launched into, literally was launched into the ETH dump of the century when ETH went to 800, right? Bam, launched right into the bear, came back strong, capitulation, accumulation, bam. What we can even say, I'm not a big Elliott wave guy, so don't quote me on this, but let's just see if we can do it. Now, isn't wave 5, supposed to be the biggest one? I don't know. I think it is. I think wave 3 and then wave 5 is double the length of wave 3. Maybe that's right. So yeah, if we look at this, maybe this is what we can expect, is a run to $22, because it's just upward accumulation. That's all this is. Bam, upward accumulation in a bear market. If we went into a bull market somehow, right? If that somehow happened, Optimism will be let loose because the users are just going exponential. And I also think in comparison to other L2s, like Arbitrum, for example, I don't know if I have ARB on here for some reason, but it just looks so much better, and if we look at it on Coinbase, well, I mean, what even is that? It's still at 117. That just is not, just doesn't, I will say this, I could see this actually being a pretty good performer though as well. It does look like it has something in the tank that's coming pretty soon here. It's above its moving averages. I would say that it had its capitulation, right? This is its capitulation, accumulation. And the thing is that Arbitrum has a ton of users as well. Let's see. Arbitrum has 154,000 users. It's a bigger fully diluted market cap. That's because of the users. So we can sort of use that as a comparison to understand that the user growth is the difference that can be We have revenue is similar to Optimism right now. Price to sales is actually in a worse position than Optimism. So right now, Optimism is the value bet for sure here, I would say, overall. Let's see if we can look at ETH again here. And where are we at? You know, like let's really try to figure this out, okay? Let's really try to figure this out. Now, where are we at on Ethereum? Okay, obviously we've been through it. I talked it out. You know, appreciate you guys sticking around if you're still here, but you know, there is always money to be made out there in the world, you know? I mean, whether it's betting on a football game or betting on, you know, a crypto, there is always a way if you are willing to stick it out, do the work, figure it out. There's always a way to figure it out. Now, how can we do that? Let's do it. Let's figure it out right now. Let's figure it out. If you're still here, me and you are going to figure this out right now. Now, what did we do? We had a capitulation. Okay. Same thing as all of these coins look exactly the same. Okay. Capitulation. 1, 2 wave. What's the third wave? The third wave. Okay. If we can say this is 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5. But the thing is, the 200 days below us. I mean, I like the way that looks, you know? Let's actually take a look back at what happened when that happened before. 200 week below us. Test, bam. Okay. So is this the same look as this? Potentially. Is it? Well, the 200 wasn't on the bottom because this is a shorter accumulation, but it is a capitulation and it looks the same. 1, 2, 3, right? How many do we have? 1, 2, 3. Let's see if we can pull up both of these at the same time. What do we have here? 1, 2, 3, or is it 1, 2, 3? It's a similar looking thing. I mean, let's just be honest. It's similar. It's similar, you know. And we have the 200-day. So basically what we want is we want the 200-day at the bottom, and we want these ordered. We want them ordered a little bit better. Now, are they ordered now? Well, no, they're not, but they were here. So you could argue that that was actually a blow off. We test the 200. We come up to what? But that at that point, though, we were overbought, right? At this point, we're not, because guess what? We can do the old trick here that I've been teaching you guys for years, is the wide moving averages. Was this wide enough, do you think? Probably not. Probably not. Now, I don't know that, but I just don't think that, like, right now, you know, it's, to me, what we need is we need to order these up again. Right now, it's just it's accumulation, but I don't think it's that hard to do. We have the 100 here, bam, all of a sudden we start rallying, the 20 comes up, and then we're in order. We're in order again. And the 200 has acted as support for us very nicely. Like, this is the third time. Now, is that a bad thing? Well, we have 1, 2, and 3. Is this 3? Is it You know, well, we have to watch for that. We have to watch for the crosses. We could say that, did the 20 cross the 150 yet? Well, no, it hasn't, but it's close. And if we sell off here and we close below below this level, okay? It's all these closes. This is a key level. It's around 1834. If we come down and we can't hold that, then we cross bearish, then I think we're done. So we have to watch for that. But right now, there is some bullishness here. Okay. We looked at optimism. It's getting picked up. Okay. It's getting picked up here. So right now I'm feeling pretty optimistic. We'll see what happens. Hopefully you guys got something out of the video. If you did, and you think that you want to subscribe to the channel, please go ahead and do so. You know, I'm going to try to continue to make videos through the cycle, and hey, maybe, just maybe, we get a little bit of a bull run here, because that's what crypto is all about. It's about staying alive until the bull run and then figuring it out from there. Okay. So let's see what we can do. Let's see if we can make this happen. Have a great night, and I will talk to you soon.